Sorry, I was just doing my work on the computer. But thank you. But welcome to the Global Gag. Please share your location or Twitter handle and chat along with us. Any questions you have, I will gladly answer them. I beg of you. Subscribe to your YouTube channel for future events. Enjoy the show!
Welcome, everyone. Oh, I'm so glad we got that intro twice. Woo-hoo.
They didn't see it the second time. They just saw it the first time.
Oh,
I hadn't
well,
yet go live yet.
She's cute nonetheless. We are so excited. We're so excited for you all to join us today. We are so happy to be presenting with GEG APAC and coming alongside, and are so grateful to Adriana Assel, who we see in the chat. Thank you so much for allowing us to come and share our hearts for instructional coaching. I am Shannon Moore. And just a little bit about me is I'm a secondary ELA and speech teacher. So I do teach full time. I'm also my school site tech coach. I live in Visalia, California, which is Central California, right in the middle. And I'm excited to be here with you guys. Let's go ahead and meet the rest of the team.
Hey everyone, I'm Becky Colling. I'm an instructional coach in Southern California, Newhall School District. I am newly minted Google certified coach. I'm super excited. I even wore my shirt that you can't see, but I did wear the shirt. I'm also a Google certified trainer, GEG leader of SoCal, global GEG leader, and GEG US West mentor, and super excited to be here with all of you today.
Hey, everybody. One, I just want to say Adriana is a filter. Two, I am Bonnie Chelette. I'm one of the founders of the Global GEG and GEG South Louisiana. I'm an innovator, a trainer, and I just submitted my coach application, so hopefully a coach soon. So happy to be here. So lucky to be with these guys. This is great. So I'm ready to get started.
All right, unmute myself here. I am Jared Johnson, and I'm also very happy to be here and to be with my colleagues here in Global GEG. So a little bit about me. I'm a digital learning coach in Lexington, South Carolina, stationed at Gilbert Middle School, which is for us grades 6 through 12 or 6 through 8. I am a Google certified innovator, a Google certified coach. In fact, I was part of the pilot program that became the Google certified coach. And then I'm also a trainer and leader of GEG South Carolina. I'm also a mentor coach for the Google for Education coaching program through EdTech team.
All right, thank you all for joining us. We are going to run this like a panel. And so we're going to switch off who the moderator is, and we'll go through it that way just to give you a feel for how things are. But please introduce yourself in the chat. We want to know who is here and give some shout outs. Add your Twitter handle and all of that. And our first moderator is Bonnie.
All right, my hobby is talking while I'm on mute. I'm the worst. So, all right, guys. So first, I want to talk about what is instructional coaching. So let's go, panel.
All right, so I'll answer this one. Instructional coaching is somebody who works one-on-one with teachers. Somebody who doesn't do like one-time sessions with teachers, but truly engages in a coaching cycle or in a challenge-based cycle where you're able to build relationships with that teacher you're working with, ask questions, do research together or find research for the teacher that you're supporting. I find that instructional coaching is truly about giving. You're not asking anything in return. You're not evaluating the teacher in any way, shape, or form. You are supporting, you are finding resources to help them meet their current challenges, and you are focused on that teacher goal. So while you yourself as a coach have your own goals, when you're working with a teacher during a cycle, you are focused on that teacher's goals and how you are going to support them in meeting their goal.
Yeah. I would also like to add, I think a lot of the time, everything Becky said was right on. And I also think that there is an element of student learning, right? I think that at the end of the day, the ultimate goal really as an instructional coach is to support the educator you're working with, but also really to enhance the student learning, because that's all of our goals, right? All right, but there is a difference between tech support and instructional coaching, I think.
So we just a review. I'm supposed to summarize, guys. I'm supposed to summarize. Becky has us like organized, but yeah, I totally agree. Like instructional coaching is definitely more one-to-one, like non-punitive, non-evaluative, and like Shannon said. But in the end, we're all working towards student growth together. All right. So Jared wants to talk more about
that next one. There is a question in the chat, though, I think that maybe one of us could answer. So can anyone ask for a coach, or does the school assign?
I think that it might depend on where you're at. For me, anyone can ask for a coach. I work across the district with 10 sites, and it is 100% voluntary. And so anyone's allowed to ask for a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, we're one-to-one in our school. So there's one of me in each of our secondary schools. Mm-hmm. So I'm building based.
Okay.
And for the coach certification, though, if that's what you're asking about, anybody that's doing like any kind of one-on-one stuff can apply. School does not have to nominate you or anything like that.
Yeah. I know at our site, there have been a couple instances where some newer teachers who are maybe struggling, especially these days with like the whole virtual reality, where the principal kind of comes alongside and helps kind of match some individuals up with our coaches. So I think it really just depends on the site.
Great question. Keep them coming.
All right. Do you want me to go ahead and answer this one?
Go ahead.
All right. So the difference between a tech coach and tech support. So this is kind of for me personally, it's a fine line to walk. But really, tech support in my eyes is you're going in and you're fixing the device or repairing the software or installing something for that teacher. But coaching, again, like what Becky and Shannon has said earlier, it is providing the teacher one-on-one support with using a instructional strategy or a technology tool, but it's also making them comfortable in using the technology to where they feel confident in trying to tackle issues that may come up. For me, what I like to do is when a teacher has a problem, sometimes the technician is not always available, so they'll grab me out of the hallway to say, hey, can you come fix this, or can you look at this? And my rule of thumb is if it takes less than 5 minutes to either diagnose or fix it, then I'm more than happy to do it, because usually you can spark some kind of conversation with it. One of my favorite ones is, my printer's not working, can you come help me with that? And I always go, well, if you sign up for a coaching cycle, I could show you how to not use that printer as often as you do right now, therefore taking away any issues that you keep having with it. So you kind of have to, for me, it's walking a fine line. But again, if it's something I can quickly do, it makes the teacher happy, and it's all about building that relationship.
For sure. Absolutely. So there was another question. I think, Jennifer, we appreciate your question. I think we'll get to that just a little bit later with the support that is out there. So if you just hold on to that question, we'll go ahead and answer it. Sound good?
Yeah, and just to kind of summarize what Jared said, I definitely think like there is a fine line. It totally support that. But for me, I feel like tech support builds trust. Like it's my way into their room. Hey, I'm gonna fix your printer, and we're gonna talk about this while I'm doing it. But yeah, like you definitely like Jared said, it's a way to encourage them to join in on that coaching cycle and get rid of that printer. Fantastic. All right, let's move on.
Here we go. So the next question that I have for you, as I'll moderate this next part, how do you garner the support of your administration? And I'm going to have Jared kick us off with answering this one.
All right. Well, not everybody's lucky enough to have a very supportive administration. I feel very blessed at where I'm at that my administration is very supportive. However, they're very busy people. So how do you get their support when it comes to coaching? And a lot of that is, you know, building those relationships with teachers and helping them with different things. Maybe it's not a full-on coaching cycle, but you've walked into their room and you've helped them implement a tool or strategy, because teachers really like to talk and share their successes. So they'll share their successes with other people on the hallway, and they will definitely go to their administration to tell them about successes that they're having, because they also want that positive feedback and support from their administration. So that's one of the ways I like to do it, but also too is helping teachers tell their own stories. So using social media like Twitter to tweet out, you know, what they're doing in their classroom, sharing successes, maybe some failures about failing forward, but getting that word out there. And if their administrator is on Twitter, you know, tagging their administrator, tagging their school, maybe even school district, as a way to share their message and to show, oh, something really good is happening in so-and-so's class. I should go in and take a look. Well, that's worked for me in the past.
Second that.
I love that.
Principals tend to be competitive, and they like when you're showcasing their school. They're like, hey, you can come and brag on us anytime. And then I totally agree too that, like, helping the admin, you know, like maybe not coaching them, but putting them like not, you know, on a cycle, like, hey, let's try this. And then you implement it like a secret cycle, because they need help too. And that'll definitely, when they see you show up on campus, they're like, so glad you're here. Come on, you know, come in. I have questions, and then you can go see my teachers. Definitely.
Wonderful. And really, rounding this up, it really is about the relationships. It's relationships with teachers to build up that coaching relationship, a relationship with admin, and finding out if they're that competitive type. And you both hit it spot on. What admin doesn't want to be showcased? I don't know a single admin out there who's like, don't tell anybody about the good stuff. Like, keep that a secret. No, they want to show that off like crazy. So beautifully said. This next question, how do you create a culture of coaching at a school site? And before I dive into answering, there was a question in the chat around, is this only for school districts or for private schools? Coaching can happen anywhere. So just know this is for any type of coaching at any school in any setting. But how do you create that culture of coaching at your site? And let's have Jared kick us off again, and then Shannon.
Sure. One of the things I like to do is, again, encouraging teachers to share their story. The more they share, the more they put themselves out there and get attention, the more the excitement kind of spreads about, hey, you know, you should try this. You know, Jared showed me this. You should try it. And then it kind of goes and spreads from there. Of course, having admin support. So again, going back to that first question, is you're building to it. It's not an overnight change. I can tell you that. I've lived this coaching model for 4 years now. It's definitely not an overnight change. But after 4 years, there's definitely, you will see a culture shift where the teachers want you to come into their classrooms. They want that kind of support from you. And they're always, you know, hopefully will be like, oh, when can we start another coaching cycle? I always like to have a little bit of fun. I'm the crazy person. So I wear capes, I wear costumes. I do a lot of weird things as a coach to just get attention from, you know, the teachers. It makes the teachers laugh. It makes the students laugh. And then I also give badges. So I was actually working on today badges for teachers I have on a cycle right now that are doing some really good stuff with student engagement or breakout rooms, things like that I can go, all right, you have successfully done this a couple of times, so you get a badge. And then the other thing is too, just celebrating, because the more you celebrate one teacher, you give a shout out, again, like faculty meetings, social media, just sending out an email to the entire staff, just saying, hey, so-and-so did a breakout room in math. The kids really loved it. Check out these pictures. They were engaged. And then it builds a lot of, oh, okay, well, can that be done in my classroom? And hopefully it will grow and grow and grow. And like I said, over the years, culture will definitely change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something to celebrate.
Always time for a celebration with Mr. Jared. And I love that about him. You have so much love in the chat regarding your trainings, Jared. And I think that's just because you make an impact in a large way in that regard.
Well, thank you.
So I would say, you know, we've had an interesting experience at our school site. There hasn't been in the past, like any type of coaching culture. There's always been those informal connections and, you know, kind of guiding people along. But, you know, this year with the whole shift, you know, myself, I approached my administration and said, you know, we need to do something to get our staff ready. And this was during the summer. Fortunately, then we had some opportunity to add a couple site tech coaches. And how we've kind of proceeded forward to ensure that, like, kind of get our feet wet and get people excited about what could be is really truly just making it easy and accessible and available and making ourselves available. So we will be tweeting this slide deck out from our Twitter handle after the show, so you can check it out. And as you can see up on the top right, there's a Google form that's linked. One way that our site made ourselves available is we created a tech support / coaching kind of form that we made available to our staff, and they could click on there. I used the auto kind of response add-on to the form, and it allows the teachers get an email right away when they submit saying, we will contact you in 24 to 48 hours. And it just made us, it allowed us to say, we're here for you. Anything that you need, we will support. Now, a lot of that form is tech support, but I want to go back to what Bonnie said. You know, in those moments where you are fixing the tech support, kind of the tech support moments, it does give you an opportunity to dialogue and converse about, you know, who these people are and where do they need to go and what are their needs and what are their gripes, which we'll get to later. And that eventually opens the door to potential coaching cycles. And so I think that making yourself available, there is a stigma I've heard across the board regarding instructional coaches and this idea of tech support. I'm not here for tech support. And I just think that that's a little backwards. I think that, you know, Bonnie said it perfectly. I just can't keep going back to what she's saying, you know, building that relationship is ideal. And so maybe something like that could kind of get the ball rolling for you at your site. And I don't know, maybe it'll allow for a position to be open.
I love both of your perspectives because, Jared, you've been doing this for so long. You have really built up that culture. And if you're not following Jared on Twitter, I do recommend it because he posts pictures of himself in his capes and in his costumes and all of that. So do follow him to see this, because this is, I don't think you could walk in on day one not knowing the teachers at all in a cape and build their trust. You have to have that relationship first. And he has done that. And so I love hearing that, because you do have that deep-rooted relationship of many years of working with the teachers. And then Shannon, you're in a setting where you're just getting started with your teachers. You're starting at, like, how can I show you that we're accessible and available? We're going to start with a form. We are available. We're here for you. We're here to support you. So do check out the form, and we are going to share it out, or the slides, we're going to share it out, but just making yourself available and hearing these different perspectives. So keep your questions coming in the chat, because we are coming at coaching from so many different levels, and we want to be able to answer those for you. But thank you both for sharing. Our next question that we're going to look at is, what challenges have you had as an instructional coach this year? Keeping in mind this year has been, wow, it's been a lot of fun. So Bonnie, we're going to have you kick us off, and then Shannon.
This year was crazy. And for those of you who don't know, I now have 14 schools, which is super exciting. I did have like 27. So now I only serve 14 schools, which, you know, so much better. But this year has been crazy. And I think now I will say teachers came to training. They came to trainings all summer, like they were willing to learn. But I feel like their big challenge is like letting somebody in and putting themselves in, like making themselves vulnerable in this environment that is new to them. Like, they don't want me coming in the room. They don't want me in their virtual classrooms. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want you in there. For me, that's been the biggest challenge, like getting in and doing those observations. No, they don't want me in there. It takes a second to like really, you know, warm up to them on that and be like, I'm just here to help, even in the virtual classroom. And I also think my teachers are like, they're like, I cannot learn one more thing. Like, no more things. They're going to come at me with pitchforks. They're going to come with one new tech tool. You know, like, they're like, no more, Bonnie. But, you know, I've been like, hey, you have to like sell it. Like, hey, I'm going to teach you this thing that's going to save you time. And I starting with trainings like, I'm going to save you 20 minutes by doing this. And they're like, okay, I'll do it. So those have been definitely time. People are building out. It's like everybody is a first year teacher. You remember your first year teaching, you spent like, you're constantly working because you had to build from scratch. And so I definitely think, and we won't even, everybody knows everybody's tired. Let's not even talk about that.
Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like for me, you know, I think I'm the only one on this panel that actually like also is in the classroom full time. And so to balance out at my school site, because we don't have like a coach position or instructional coach position at any of our sites, they're all district coach positions. You know, we didn't have like a full, you know, full-time position for a coach at our site. And so I did have to, you know, sell one of my prep periods. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a extra period to plan that teachers get at the secondary level. And to be a coach. And I'm okay with that. I chose that. But, you know, being a high school teacher and having a full-time load, plus being one of the only like site coaches at my school site of 2,400 students and over 100 teachers, it has been an interesting balance. I think that has been, in addition to what, you know, Bonnie said about teacher discouragement and finding the time, I think it's been a really interesting, you know, trek to figure out how to balance. And I know I'm not alone. I mean, just because these individuals aren't in the classroom doesn't mean that they're, you know, not balancing everything.
No, I don't know how
else.
you're doing it. I don't know.
I mean,
yeah.
No way. I mean, we have parents in
Crazy.
the room. I mean, global GEG leaders across the board, right? Everybody has their responsibilities. But it is a challenge. It's a challenge to, you know, make myself available when people need it. And that's been like the hardest thing for me as an instructional coach to really adjust to this year is, you know, I can't be everything for everybody. And as a person that's been a struggle, right? If I can't be there when they need me, then what are they going to do? But I've done a lot of deep diving into this idea that I don't have to be the hero as an instructional coach. And that's really helped me kind of get to an even playing field with, you know, the educators I'm working with, because I didn't know what it was like to be a tech or instructional coach. And so it's been a balance this year to try to figure out what does that role actually mean? Thank God I have the awesomeness of the people on this panel, as well as a bunch of other people that I know I can go to in global GEG. But yeah, balance and teacher discouragement is really has been the challenge, I think, for me this year.
And I've been doing this, I was trying to think in my head, like 6 years. And I feel like 6 years ago, I really had no clue what I was doing. And now they have like these frameworks and these models. And I was like, oh, wish I had this 6 years ago and I was just winging it. But also, Jennifer, I saw you in the chat talking about like managing your time. And I know that everybody here is good at. My calendar, I've had to make it really intentional. Like, okay, I'm gonna spend this time with you, and this is the time you got. And I also, and I've talked about in the open chat, like scheduled time for today's crisis. Like, cause something's going to happen. So like, I'll schedule all my time with people, and then I'm like, okay, this chunk is for whatever happened today that's on fire. Just my personal way of managing it.
I love what you both said. You really, I mean, I think you harnessed how all coaches are currently feeling right now. I'm in a very different setting than, we are all in a different setting, right? Like I'm elementary only, you're all secondary, Shannon's in the classroom, but we are all running into the challenges of time. We're running into the challenges of like being able to balance our schedules, because you're spot on. If we give so much of ourselves, then are we really, when we're meeting with a teacher, able to give them what they need, or are we turning into that like one more thing, you know? So I appreciate everything you said, and I think we have a lot to learn and grow together. And it really, I don't know that this is something you can do on an island by yourself. So thank you for sharing. Ask questions in the chat about any of this, please. We want to hear from
Shannon
you too.
told me in the chat I need to share something though, because like every time something breaks, like I get 72 emails like within 30 seconds. So now I have like apology email template. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That must be so hard for you. And I just copy and paste it. I know nobody from my district here and they know what I'm doing. But yeah, like I just kind of have those apology emails ready to apologize when things break. So sometimes that is helpful to have a Google Doc and starred apologies.
Yeah.
I love that. And if you would share in the chat, like what have been your challenges as a coach this year?
Yeah.
So please do share that in the chat. And as you're answering that, we are going to go on to the next question, which is how have you helped a teacher? So think of a teacher in particular. How have you helped a teacher transform their classroom practice? Because we really are in the business of helping teachers transform. And let's start with Jared and move on to Bonnie. And then Shannon, if you want to jump in, you can.
Sure.
I think some of my favorite stories of transforming classroom practices with teachers has been in terms of student engagement, because everybody struggles with getting everybody in class engaged or being able to get data on every student as to whether or not they're learning the content. And so when you can show teachers strategies or tools that can really help them and make life easier for them, it's really fantastic. Like I have a teacher right now that's been struggling with that same thing. And she's a veteran. She came back from retirement because of a teacher shortage that we have. And so she's been very eager to learn new tricks. And it's just been awesome to watch. I came into her room today and she was like, let me show you what I did with Pear Deck. And it was like, oh, this is so awesome. And, so things like that are a lot of fun to see teachers have those aha moments, or, like, oh my God, this was great. This really helped. And then seeing teachers I've helped years ago at another school, the fact that they're still using those same strategies and things like HyperDoc, stuff that we created five years ago, they're still, working on. And it's just so cool.
Jared, do you want to get this question or?
Oh,
restaurant's a great question.
Sorry.
Do you think which question is it? I'm sorry, guys. I've lost.
So do you think educators, do you come across educators who would, oh, it went away now. Who would want to find answers to all the small things and with help? Do you come across educators who want help finding answers to all the small things so they don't have to try it all by themselves?
Yes, there's a lot of them. There's some teachers who just want you to give them one answer, one tool, and be gone. And then other ones that that look for small things or want that support. Like, oh well, what about let's try this next, or here's another challenge I have. Can we do this? I think with that, I'm hoping I'm answering your question right. The thing is getting them to focus. In a coaching cycle, according to the program, you can have up to 8 weeks on a coaching cycle. And so a lot of teachers think, oh, I got 8 weeks, so I can have all my problems solved in 8 weeks. And it really, in my experience, doesn't work that way. Really, it's focusing on one. And if you really get that one completed or accomplished, then trying to do maybe a second one. But yeah, there are a lot of them that are just like, oh, what about this? What about that? Little small things. And then again, there's other ones who are like, all right, how do I do this? Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure.
But I take it as a conversation. So I'm like, hey, they asked for help. I gave them hopefully something. I hope, cross my fingers, it works, because if it doesn't, I'll hear about it. But
you will hear about it. They will give you feedback. Don't worry about that. You get some feedback. I don't want to ask for it all the time. Like, I'm nervous. Yeah, great answer, Jared. Do you want to elaborate more? I don't want to interrupt. Jared's so good.
Just want to listen to him forever.
I know. My current project, I'm super excited about. So a little bit. My district is back face to face. But we have a lot of teachers who are like, we still have kids at home, so they're like having to share their screen and teach. I do not know how they're doing it. I'm blown away. So, and they're so nervous. I'm like, look at what you're doing. So I've got teachers doing that, but we also created like a virtual school. And so we've just rolled it out. And so it's a small group, like we started just with elementary. So I'm working with those teachers one-on-one, and we can really plan, like they don't have to worry about, oh, we're going to shift back to hybrid next week or anything. Like we can really structure it out just virtual, because they're not worried about when we're going back to back. And it's been fun. And so next week I'm meeting with them, like they all agreed to do one-on-one, and we're going to kind of work on stuff. So I'm excited. Current project.
Yeah. I would say this year, the biggest, in anticipation for virtual teaching, if you know me at all, research is kind of my thing. I absolutely adore it and love it. And so starting like in March when we went virtual, because we are still virtual, we're likely not going to go back anytime soon. Definitely not until at least, Becky's in California as well. Most Californians know we're just not going back. We're doing real bad with the COVID numbers. So starting March,
I knew
everybody is. I guess everybody across the world are. And unfortunately, you guys have that extra challenge, which is scary. But I did a lot of research and dove into, what is virtual teaching and what are the shifts in preparation for, coming back to school. And so the biggest thing I think that has been kind of a good piece at our site that I've implemented with my other tech coach is the idea that like, we're really trying to change the shift of, just because it doesn't look necessarily like it looked when you were face-to-face or traditional, doesn't mean like it's bad, right? And so that shift really does need to happen, but also assuring teachers that like, give yourself some grace, understand that like, you're not going to have all the answers. It's just the way it is. We're all figuring this out together. And so really kind of like we talked about earlier, building those relationships and allowing for that like open dialogue and trust about it's okay to get discouraged, reach out. There's been a better culture of community that's been developed, I think, at our site. And it's allowing teachers to really kind of take a little bit more risk in their classroom and lesson designs. And we've been focusing a lot on inquiry. One thing that for those of you that are like, maybe thinking about trying to get a site coach or a district coach, established at your site. I started volunteering to lead we have what are staff development sessions every single month, where essentially it's professional learning or professional development, sessions. And I started to kind of offer my services to lead those. And in that, I'm able to kind of identify like the areas where teachers are struggling without straight up being like, where are you struggling, right? Or the principal being like, this person, I watched them, they're really struggling in XYZ, go fix it. It allows me to like, you talked earlier about that secret cycle. It kind of is that idea that like, you lead the PD, you get that feedback form at the end, and you can then say, oh, shoot, yeah, this person needs some support there. And so you can then reach out because you led the PD. And so what better way to make that connection after the fact and then kind of build on that. So just a suggestion. It's worked for us at our site.
Okay, Shannon, though, stop telling my secrets, okay?
I've learned from the best, guys. Learn from the best.
Secret.
I love this. Thank you all for sharing. This is a really big one. And what you've noticed, I'm sure, the common theme is that there's not a simple solution answer. Now, like, how have you helped a teacher transform? It's different for all of us. It's different in every cycle. It's different with each teacher. It's different how we get started and all of that. So it's all about trying things on and failing forward, learning from each other, sharing your ideas. And so I thank you all for sharing. This is actually going to dive into our next section, which is all around becoming certified so you have that community behind you to help you as you go through this process.
Yeah. So obviously, we are the leaders of EC Open Chat, which the EC comes from Google for Education Certified Coach Program. And it all started with a spark and a vision and a very, very dedicated and tenacious individual who likes to just jump and get things going. But before we jump to EC Open Chat, I did want to maybe talk to the panelists a little bit about what is this certified coaching certification? Like, what exactly does it include? What are the processes? All those things. So I'd love to hear on this one. Becky, Jared, can you guys give some insight into actually what this certification is?
Well, I'll give just a brief history of it. So this started out known as the Dynamic Learning Project, which was a research project by Google for Education and Digital Promise to figure out what were the best ways to do technology coaching. And so through the original 4 years or 3 years of the project, they had developed the 5-step coaching, challenge-based coaching model, which is what the Google for Education Certified Coach program is. And so what's really cool is all the data, all the lessons we learned in that pilot phase has been turned into this curriculum that you will go through in order to become a certified coach. And it's fantastic. Like, when I can say, when you implement it with fidelity, you can really not only change your way of coaching, but you can really have that impact on school culture in your building. And it's a beautiful thing.
So just to build off of what Jared was saying, first off, I love that we have the OG of ECs, which is Jared, and he does have all the insights on Google EC. But I have to say, when this program came out and when I saw that there was a full-blown curriculum for coaches that's 100% free, you get the curriculum prior to getting certified. Like, let me tell you right now, my district was spending so much money on paying people to come in and train us coaches so that we could then go out and coach. And then this came out and I was like, whoa. This is free. It's good. It's like really good. And I get to take everything I've learned in the past and really like polish up my skills. And I'm still growing and I'm still learning. But you go through that curriculum, and we'll get into more of that later. You go through the curriculum, that 5-step coaching model, and then you get that community of coaches. Mm-hmm. There's, I believe, 170, I could be wrong, but around 170 certified coaches right now. And it's nice to know that I've got a place to go and I can ask questions and learn from other certified coaches who have been through that same curriculum.
And two, to know that you're not alone with those 170 people. You know, we kind of can sometimes get bogged down in our own buildings and our own bubbles. And so it's great to use that hashtag to reach out to the community to say, hey, what have you tried? What has worked for you? What has not worked for you? It's fantastic to be able to reach out to such a large group of people.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with all of them. The curriculum's fantastic. You know, a lot of the time, and I think Bonnie put it in her chat too, or in the chat, like, you don't expect the curriculum when you're going for certification. Sometimes it's just like a process, right? You just go through it because, you know, at the end of it, it's like your ultimate goal. But like Jared said and Becky reiterated, like, it absolutely is a very enriching program. And I encourage anybody who, even if you're not ready to get to the point where you're going to apply for the Google certification or coach certification, maybe check it out. You know, the link's in the chat, and it's some good stuff. It doesn't just talk about like coaching. It talks about the psychology behind connections and relationships, and really truly, you know, how to lead adult learners, which in my opinion can really support all relationships, you know, within the educational landscape. So I think it's pretty awesome.
I'll say the challenge menu makes it all worth it. You got a challenge, look for it in the menu and see what you can come up with.
Yes.
So I guess this next question, it takes it a step further. After they, you know, kind of become familiar with the program, how do they actually achieve the certification? What are the steps? You guys want to speak to that one?
Yeah, definitely.
You just did it. You want to go ahead and speak to that?
Yeah, I'll speak to this one and then Jared jump in. the first thing you're going to do is complete the curriculum, and there's no time limit. I love this. There is no time limit. You don't have to do it within X number of days. You actually should be doing the curriculum as you're trying it on. So it should take some time. Once you've completed the curriculum, you're then going to do the coach skills assessment. I want to say it's like 45 questions, and it's free. So I will say it's free because not all Google for Education assessments are free. This one is. Once you finish the assessment, you will then go through, or as you're going through the curriculum, you're going to go through 1 to 2 coaching cycles with teachers. So you get to try it on. And then it's all about obtaining your level 1 and level 2 certifications. So just making sure you have those in the bag. We do have supports to help with that. We've got the Global GEG Bootcamp. Check those out. And then you create your coaching portfolio where you come up with your 3 artifacts, because you should have been trying all this on, right? So you're trying it on. And as you do all of this, like, you're not alone. So you get a chance to actually try it out. Send in your application, a quick 5 minute video. I should know, I didn't do it that long ago. 8. Am I seeing 3, 8, or 5? I want to say it's 5.
Once again, on mute. No, it's 3 to 5. 5.
3. Okay, well,
Yeah,
I went to 4 minutes and 59 seconds because
yes, you are.
I
Yes, you
talked
are.
a lot, clearly. But you're just going through the whole process of really trying on cycles, and then you apply to be a coach to show I've got some skills, I've tried it out.
Awesome. Yeah. So there are steps that you do have to take. Jared, did you want to elaborate on any of the process? Or Bonnie, you too, you just submitted. Congratulations.
Well, like Bonnie's, not Bonnie, like Becky said, you're trying it on as you do it. So that's kind of the neat thing. There's no rush to get it done. In fact, you shouldn't rush it, because you do want that in portfolio to really have some good data that you can present in your application. So yeah, take your time with it. Read the curriculum, implement a little bit of something, go back, just take your time. And yeah, like she said, I like that. Try it on. You're doing it. Try it on as you go.
I watched Becky's video. It was great. It was like mine. I had to edit it out. You don't realize how much you talk, but I did just submit mine. So hopefully I told them, either I'll get in or I'll get some good feedback about how to fix it. So I did just submit mine now. I was pretty
excited for all of them. I'm the only leader of the EC Open Chat that actually hasn't submitted their certification, but I really feel good about what Jared just said and the fact that there is no rush. And I, as someone who's just starting out, it takes some time to collect the data. And fortunately, there are so many resources out there to help, resources being people and all over the curriculum and the internet. And so, we know that there is a process, just like with anything, and that process is sometimes scary, but there is no rush. You take it at your own pace and do what you need to do to, meet that goal eventually.
That's right.
So the next part we're going to get into, which Jared's going to moderate, but we are going to get into EC Open Chat. And this came about because of Google EC. So I'll let Jared take it away.
Well, what is hashtag EC Open Chat? I will ask this of Shannon.
Oh, on the spot. Here we go. If I had to define EC Open Chat, I would say it's like a network of like coaches, if we're doing it at the base level, because it's really 2 levels, okay? It's a network of coaches who are, coming together, commiserating, encouraging, sharing ideas, on their path to achieving the Google Certified Coach. I also think it is an opportunity for individuals who are in the coaching, the coaching world or have that title put upon them, either formally or informally. It's a space where you can come together and just have a group of like-minded individuals who all understand and get the struggles and the celebrations that you're going through on a daily basis. So it's collaboration at its finest, I think.
It really is. It is definitely collaboration at its finest. The chat is always blowing up. There's a lot of good ideas, a lot of support, all that stuff that you need. It's a great network. That is true.
It's a family. It's also, I mean, somebody like to kind of hold, like I'm going to bother Shannon all week about doing a portfolio. So if you need that accountability piece, like Becky's like, I did my portfolio. I'm like, oh, I got to do that. So I'm behind. So it is fun. There is like, we have a big chat. So like you have people on demand, like how are you, it doesn't end because it spans time zones. But, you know, it is like you're like, what do you mean? It's just a big chat of people. And you're like, hey, does anybody have this? Hey, is anybody using this? And also like Jennifer was talking in the chat. I feel like, I'm so glad Jennifer's here. I feel like we were besties already. She's like talking about having people to talk to that do the same thing. Cause you do feel like you're an island. Like I told, if you're the only coach in your building, I've got some teacher friends that I absolutely love that we've been friends for like 13 years. When I talk about my job, they don't get it. Like we didn't have to do lunch duty, so you don't get it. But I did other things, and other things are stressful. So it is a good group, even if you just like, you're like, oh my God, this was so hard. And everybody's like, I agree that it's so hard. Definitely, like I said, cannot stress like just the community enough.
Yeah, and I would add one more thing. You know, we are not a part of Google. None of us are being paid by Google for education.
No.
All of us are volunteers. Everybody who's participating are volunteers. And, you know, so I just wanted to make that clear because I think that there is some, because we use the EC, you know, you sometimes people make that association, but really, truly, we are just a group of passionate individuals who understand the value in making connections and supporting fellow educators along their journey. And it's never been more of an appropriate and necessary time, I think, than right now when so many people across the world are struggling. If at the end of the day, language keeps us from understanding each other, feelings don't, and we're all in it together. And so we do have a global community in EC Open Chat. And so we are eager to, you know, welcome you all with open arms and hope that you will, you know, ultimately join us. Okay, taking off the feelings, moving on.
Well, and the certification is secondary. Like the community is one, the support is one. If you want to do the, you know, if you're going through the process, great. It is a great process to go through, but like the certification not required. That's just like a second. That's what brought us together, but that is not the glue that holds us together.
And I tweeted out the other day, this is really an inspiring group of people. For me, these three women are very inspiring to me. The group in general, the whole chat is just very inspiring. So definitely, if I was going to summarize up that, join the chat. It's a inspiring group of like-minded, awesome people. So the next question we have is, and we've probably touched on this already, but what is the vision of our EC Open Chat?
We did touch on this, and I love that. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time repeating everything, but I will say it was initially, so because Google EC was brand new, and it was like, what is this program? Okay, let's come together and like talk about it, and let's figure out how to submit our applications together. And then we started diving in, and it was like, oh, no, it's a community of practice. It's a community of educators, of coaches who are there to support each other. We engage in our book studies, our monthly meetings, and then our open chat, which is always going any time of day because at some point in the day, someone in the world is awake. So it's just there to support. What mostly people are joining because they want to get their Google EC. Some of them already have it. And some of them are like, it's not the right time, but I am coaching a teacher here and there, so I want to come for ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to put Becky on the spot one more time before we transition. So in just a second, Jared is going to give insight to monthly meetings, but I noticed it's also here, you know? And so Becky, can you give us a little insight into like our last monthly meeting and kind of the feedback maybe that coaches kind of shared with us?
Yeah, so that was probably my favorite monthly meeting. I mean, I've loved them all, but that was probably my favorite. We did role-playing scenarios. and we broke out into breakout rooms. Well, that's a great way to say the same thing. We went into breakout rooms, and we actually got to do kind of a fish tank where one person practiced as the coach and the other was the teacher. Here's your scenario, go over it, and then 2 to 3 others were listening and gave feedback. And oh my goodness, I left and was seriously just like, that's the language I need to use. Oh, that's a great way to respond to this. And things that I didn't think about, and getting to hear them and getting feedback on how I was responding to teachers, it was super beneficial. And so that's how we're supporting each other, is helping each other grow in our practice.
Absolutely. And then I would add on top of that, you know, it's one thing to have theory, right? We're all educators. We understand that, like, you go to through any program, they throw the theory down your throat, right? And a lot of the time it's good stuff, but it's that pragmatic, practical action and putting it into play that really, truly matters. And so to have that experience, being able to do those role plays really did kind of, and I think make all of the theory real and practical in a safe space, because we're all working towards the same thing. We also do a book study. And so we just finished our first book study. We have other members that are part of our leadership team that couldn't be here today, but Georgina Dean was in charge of the book study initially, and then I came on board and joined her. And we went through a piece called Courageous Adventures. And so when we're talking about vision and why do I bring up this book study? Well, the connection is this, like, truly, if it's about resources and growing together, we were able to dive into some solid theory, some solid ideas, and then we can dialogue about it in a safe space, build off of each other, hear experiences. And it just made the process of going back to our school sites or going back to our districts so much more full, I think, because you had all this insight. Well, so-and-so is doing it like this over at, my friend's, site. So maybe we can try to implement something like that, and really using the experience and your own artistry to really make it something vibrant at your own space. And we are also going to be starting another 2 book studies coming here in January. So stay tuned. And we just did Courageous Adventures. We're going to do another round of Courageous Adventures for those individuals by Jenny Magira, for those individuals who weren't able to make it. We've actually had a member of the EC Open chat. Look at the books. The books are beautiful. We actually had a member of the EC Open chat kind of volunteer to lead individuals through another round of Courageous Adventures. So shout out to Francis Cottom. We are so grateful for you to do that. And then I'm going to be leading in January. And I hope that you guys will join us another book study on Wanderlust EDU, which we're really, really excited about. So. All right.
Well, if we go into, I guess we already are on slide 16. So join us for those book studies. The first one was fantastic on Courageous Adventures. So highly recommend doing that one if you have not done that one yet. I have not read Wanderlust, so I'm excited for that one. And then we have our monthly meets every 3rd Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. PDT. I can't talk. It's late for me here. So we have those. So make sure you sign up with our bit.ly link there so you can get notified when those will come up. And of course, if you're a member of Global GEG, you will also get notified with that as well. Is there anything I'm missing, guys?
I think you've got it. Yeah, just sign up with the bit.ly, and it should be in the chat as well. And then we'll close out tonight with inviting you to continue this discussion on Twitter. So I just retweeted this. We have weekly discussions in addition to, everything else we do, our monthly meets, our book studies, all of that. We also have weekly discussions, and they go out in our chat. So we are in Google Chat, and they also go out on Twitter. We want to continue talking with all of you. We want to know in Twitter, how might we create more time for coaching for both teachers and coaches? This is like the biggest challenge we run into is time, and you can't change the amount of hours in the day. So how can you create more time? please go into Twitter. It's at EC Open Chat, and respond to this tweet. Oh, thank you so much. And it should be retweeted right in there at the top for you all. We'd love to hear from you, and we will follow up. Hashtag EC Open Chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need some ideas on how to make more time. So
Time.
fill up that Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Word.
Well, we are so
Word.
grateful again to
Crazy.
be a part of this. We want to thank Adriana Assel one more time for putting it together, all of the English sessions. You are a wonderful human. We love you. Oh,
SEA
yeah.
19.
So excited, throwing it in. And we are just so grateful. We want to connect with you. So please, please, please join us. And we're so grateful. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
See
you
you
all.
soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes. Thank you. All right.